lot of times you might hear about the bigger conventions, San Diego Comic-Con, Dragon Con, bigger conventions across the globe, mostly in the US, and you don't often hear about the little conventions unless you're local or if you hear about them through a friend. And there's a lot to be said about the smaller conventions. Bigger conventions are fantastic. You see tons of great costumes and you meet lots of great people, celebrities, vendors, you name it, they're great. You go in and a lot of times it's a pretty quick exchange, but it just fills that little void. Sometimes you get photos and you can get autographs, and it's just a great experience for sure. But there's something about the smaller conventions. There's something about having space, if you will. Something about being able to have that little bit of extra time to talk with one of your favorite celebrities or guests or an artist who has a great piece there, all that kind of thing. A lot of ways to really find out many things about your community or just in general. Smaller conventions have a nice home feeling. Now, I first heard about Hero Fest because I'm pretty close to Kingston, Ontario. There's not a lot of conventions here. Mostly you gotta go to Toronto or to the States or you know, wherever you can get to conventions. But again, most of them happen in Toronto, so they go the other direction for me. This one was a lot closer. I didn't even have to get a hotel, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I hope they do more for sure. Now, typically when I go to a convention, there's a couple things specifically I'm looking for. A guest I really want to meet, or people I want to see there. And this one definitely had that. They did have Colin Baker announced, and he canceled, and then Tori Higginson was announced, and she was canceled, so it was a little sad for me, but it was still a great convention, and I'm not begrudging that at all. Cancellations happened, it was a little sad, but I'm still glad I went. Now, one of the big reasons I did go, as I mentioned in last week's video, was that I was invited to actually be a costume judge for the cosplay contest. And let me tell you, this is the first time I've ever done that. I was a little nervous, especially with the little bit of recognition I got for it. I've been costuming for years and years and years, since about 2000. And it was great to actually be on that panel. Now, initially, it was supposed to be Colin Baker and Denise Crosby on that panel, along with myself and a really good friend of mine, David Ross. However, due to complications, of course, the cancellation, and Denise kind of disappeared during that, we still had the costume contest, but we got to fill up with two other celebrities, and they were fantastic. One being Toby Proctor, and the other being Christian Potenza, who you may recognize as I put up the photos here of their respective animated characters. Both guys were fantastic. I think they almost did a better job than I did as far as interacting with the costumers. And you know, when you go into the costume contest, you usually have a level of expectation. You think, oh, you go to the big conventions, they're gonna have big elaborate costumes, lights, kind of like you may have seen on Heroes of Cosplay or whatnot, all these like little different options. And I wasn't sure what to expect from Kingston. Again, first year convention, not a big cosplay area, but I gotta tell you, I was blown away. There were a number of costumes that were just spectacular. There was the complete winner of our complete contest, which was a man who made his own Groot costume, and then of course a mini Groot for one of his kids. And it looked great. And as I'm showing it here, I can't even do it justice. He did a fantastic job on it. And I'm actually gonna link in the descriptions for some of his videos where he's gonna actually put some of the build progress up. So be sure to check that out. But he wasn't the only awesome costumer at this entire event. There was fantastic Hellboys, and there was a Raven from Teen Titans that was absolutely phenomenal. And I can't even list all the great costumes I saw that weekend, but there were tons. It wasn't like this little convention where just you get 3 or 4 costumers come in and you get everyone else just in plain clothes. No, there was actually a lot of costumes. Now, the guests were great. One thing, again, about smaller conventions is you get that little bit extra play time to talk with them and whatnot. And there were several guests that I recognized. There were some wrestlers and actors and whatnot. And I was kind of surprised. My daughter knew one person going into that convention, and she was really nervous to meet him. That was Toby Proctor, who played Tuxedo Mask on Sailor Moon. And by the end of the weekend, though, she was completely fangirling over him and got an autograph and a poster, and she was just completely excited. And he was fantastic with her, especially meeting a 6.5-year-old fan, new fan, technically. I think it was really great for him as well. One of the most starring moments, though, was when she got to meet Power Rangers. Now, as you've seen in my previous videos, or her previous video, is that she's a huge Power Ranger fan, and though she's only watched the original Power Rangers and Megaforce, she's still very familiar with all the other costumes and the other shows. Then there's 2 Power Rangers there from Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Again, she didn't know who they were, but in talking with them, she showed them her video from here on YouTube. They convinced her, completely changed her Sunday costume plans to be a Power Ranger, so she wore her Pink Ranger costume in transition. And they were just fantastic. They were probably one of the best guest reactions she's ever had at a convention. Someone she really didn't really know, but really pulled her in, and she just really enjoyed. So, but I had a fantastic time, a great time, and I hope you've seen that through this video. So be sure to subscribe if you want to check out some of my other videos coming out. Next week I'll be back to my regular programming of props, costumes, toys, what have you. But for now, thank you for liking and subscribing, thank you for sharing, and thanks for watching.